Our next speaker is Sam Wu. Sam, I've met through another rare disease friend. He actually spoke at our meeting in Toronto as well. Sam is a caregiver, on-call chaplain and counselor, and he's going to spend some time talking to us about, how would you describe that, Sam? What would we say? Yeah, it's kind of like how we feel about being here, right? Right? So that's all yours, Sam.
So let's see how my memory and how my juggling skills do. Because usually you carry 2 things and now I carry 3 things. And I thought, maybe I can tape this thing on my mic. Or they should make something like this. But I'm sure we'll still run into issues. Anyways, before I introduce a little bit more about myself, let's see how my memory does. So I made an effort, try to remember all your names. You can cover your name tags and see, like you see, you can remember my name is because it's quite simple. And so let's see if I can remember all of your names. So let's start with this table. I know Brad and Lori and Taylor. And then you have Bianca and Drish. And then you have Dr. Michelle, Dr. Conwell. And then you have Carolyn and Stephanie. And here's Christine and Marvin and Rachel and Bronwyn, Lachlan and Jennifer. And then in the back you have Abigail, Jorge, and then Melissa as well as Maruka. And Becky and then Hong, and then Priscilla and Rami and AJ. And then here you have Veronica and Lee. Am I missing somebody? So the trick is that you need to stay at your table. If I later on having lunch or snack or something, you all of a sudden give me a test, I most likely will fail, but it's okay. So thank you for being here and thank you for having me. It's been an honor. It's an honor actually to be here and to get a chance to share a little bit about my life, share a little bit about my journey, and also hopefully share a little bit about something that I would always like to share with other people. It's that how do we have a life that is not only going down or plateauing, but have a life that is actually flourishing. So instead of going down, instead of plateauing, how can we flourish? What is that going to look like in our life that a life that will flourish? But before that, I wanted to talk a little bit about myself. Work with a lot of patients, hospital, emotionally and spiritually. I have 3 sons, 1 biological and 2 adopted. I always like to bring that up. Actually, that table, Christina, John, and Lorena, I just don't want to miss them. So here's my family, my 3 sons, 2 of them are adopted. When I heard some of the stories this morning, and then Dr. Ramona, okay, I just want to make sure that I got everybody because when I met them, they're more graphic person. And so when I hear the stories this morning, a lot of times when you get a diagnosis or how do you describe it to other people? Jim, sorry, I keep having these flashbacks about where's all these people? Vicky. I hope I got everybody. Did I get everybody? Okay. Yeah, you can tell that I have ADHD. I jumped around. And so if there's a fly going through or a bird, don't mind me. I can see if I can bring it back. So I was talking about stories. My 2 adopted son has fetal alcohol. And a lot of times that I have to educate other people. And particularly with parents at the school ground, because they act normal, not quite, but they look normal. But they are neurodivergent. And so when I heard about Jim leading that session about how do you talk to different people about that, it really resonated with me that every single day, not only that we have to educate ourselves about the the development medically. But at the same time, we have to prepare ourselves emotionally, psychologically, mentally. How do we talk to people that sometimes they're not, they may be receptive, they may just want a summary, as Jim expressed, or maybe just an elevator pitch. And so today, I'm supposed to talk about mental health, resilience, and support. I thought about, I'll take that picture from the book. So what is mental health? Mental health, it's not fixed or static. Like a sunrise, have anybody seen a sunrise or sunset before? You know, when you go and look for a sunrise, you're not going to go west because it's predictable, it's static, it's always going to be there. If you go east, you wait it long enough, you're going to see sunrise. Mental health, it's not static like the sunrise or sunset. It really depends on what kind of support system you have. It depends on how you see the world, how you see yourself. It depends so much about your support, your environment. That is actually going to change how well you do in terms of facing what challenges are. And there's a different aspect of mental health. One is at the emotional side. We experience stress, we experience joy, anxiety, different kinds of emotions. But the goal is that how do we look at that and how do we face certain things that it's not going to crush us, it's not going to overwhelm us. I always looked at it as, do we have a good grounding? Do we have a good anchor? Do we have a good support system? We're going to talk more about that. When you heard the news about Pompe, or when you or your family diagnosed with Pompe, body, it's being affected. But the challenge of it is that our mental health does not have to be affected so much. It's like a muscle that we can build. And that's what we're going to talk about today. How can we build up that muscles? Another thing about mental health is that our psychological, it depends on how we see ourselves, how we see the world. Sometimes people ask, you know, like, is it a half full or half empty glass? Is it a half full or half empty? Do we see ourselves that has the resilience to move forward? Or do we see that, no, this is just another thing that is too much? And how do we see that and how do we look at that and face life's demands is very important. And that's what the psychological part come in. You see, we can nurture our emotions. We can nurture our minds so that we can have better ability to face what is ahead. Another side of mental health is that social well-being. In addition to emotional aspect, psychological aspect, another one is social well-being, the quality of relationships and interaction with others. I also wanted to, I'm very tempted to add yourself, but it's not necessarily social well-being. But a lot of times that if you see people that they have a good stand, they have a good grounding, they have a good relationship with themselves, a lot of times that they will naturally have a good relationship with other people. They have good qualities of friendship. They have good qualities of interacting. And so that's a very important aspect, that those are the three about mental health in terms of emotions, in terms of our psyche, and in terms of our social well-being. So let's look at what are the signs to watch for. What are the red flags to watch for when we talk about mental health? One is that when you're tired, when you have been exhausted, when your emotions is being affected, when you're sad, maybe for 2 weeks or over, we need to be brave. We need to be brave to ask for help. We need to be brave to check with professions. We need to be brave. A lot of times that we just think that we can handle it, we can, deal with it on our own, maybe for a little bit. But when you see red flags, such as, you know what, my mind has been wandering off, can't focus, can't get up in the morning, it's time to be brave. It's time to talk to some other people when we recognize red signs. The other thing is that we need to have self-care strategies. What are some of the self-care strategies? In here I put down mindful breathing. You know, a lot of times that when we experience challenges, sometimes we have a couple response. One is fight, one is flight, and one is freeze. And when we are in those circumstances, under stress and under challenges, we're not able to hear well, we're not able to learn well, we're not able to cope well. But what does the breathing do? It's actually to slow us down so that we could send the blood where it needs to go rather than fighting or running. You see a lot of times that when there's stresses happen, we thought that it's a fire. But it could be just you finish a shower coming out and then the steam come out to your living room and your fire alarm get off. But it's not necessarily a real fire. And so the breathing exercises actually help you to really calm down in seeing and assessing. And so I wanted to I invite you, if you can, to just do this with me. We're going to take in, you see our lungs can, there's a lot of doctors here, so I better be careful. I think it's over 4 liters of air that can go in, more or less. So when you take in, inhale slowly for 4 seconds, and if you can hold it for 7 seconds, and if you can slowly breathe it out. So let's do it together, shall we? So let's take in slowly a breath for 4 seconds, 2, 3, 4, and hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then breathe it out slowly. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So every single morning, you do that. Just take a couple minutes. And all these strategies are just a little bit of stuff to help you to build up your resiliency. It's not going to be changing. And you don't want it to, when it comes to news or challenges, and all of a sudden you think that, oh, I can't handle this. And these are the exercises that if you do that often, by the time that you feel, anxious, then it may help you to be able to make better decisions. So coping with self-care strategy. Another thing is that about journaling. I don't know who journals here or who record their voice or anything. You journal? I have a journal in the back and I like to put it in, I do journaling in Chinese. I still have my Chinese with me. And so when I journal, I like to track my wins and challenges. Make sure that as you journal, nobody sees it. You maybe have a lock or something, but at the same time, you wanted to track it down. Just short, simple. What are some of the wins? For example, me showing up here, it's a win. You showing up here, it's a win. And I think a lot of times that we like to compare ourselves with our weakness to somebody's strength. Have you ever done that? Like somebody may be a very good chef, or somebody may be a very good ping pong player. Somebody may be very good in sleeping, even. And we like to compare our weakness with people's strength. Don't do that. Don't do that. I heard a story that a lot of times that couples that have been married for a long time, they would say that when my partner snore or something like that, at least I know that they're breathing, they're living. But don't compare your weakness with people's strength. We are all on our journey, but together with one another. So make sure that you track your wins, no matter how small they are. So self-care strategy, I got to put a little bit of plucked in there. I asked for permission to do that. I work for Ember Counseling and Training and as an intern. And so to get some support, make sure that you don't wait until something happens. It's preventative. It's preventative. It's important to just talk with somebody, learning some strategies and how to cope with all that has happened. So resilience, anybody familiar with what's going on? This is ancient therapy. It's called cupping therapy. A lot of times that when you see Olympians, particularly the swimmer, they have all kinds of look like bruises on their back. And it's because when they finish a race, the muscles tense up, they got exhausted, and when they do cupping therapy, what ended up happening in massage is that it released the tensions and muscles. Why did I put it there? It's because resilience isn't about being unbreakable. No, that's not. Resilience is about bouncing back stronger. How do we bounce back stronger when things are challenging? And so for the swimmer, for different athletes, what they did is that they make sure that they schedule a cupping therapy massage. But for us, what does help us that we can bounce back stronger? There are pillars of resilience that I wanted to talk about. One is that make sure that it's a positive mindset. So practice gratitude. Practice gratitude. Name 3 things you're thankful for each day, even small ones like a supportive caregiver or a good book or good weather or bad weather, whatever that it is. Cultivate self-compassion, being thankful. It makes a huge difference because in our world, if you look around, if you heard the news and all of that, a lot of times that is focused on the negative. And the more negative we carry, the more stress that we carry, our muscles tense up, it's hard to function. It may sound very simple, but it's very powerful. Having a positive mindset, cultivating gratitude. The other one is to set goals. Set smart goals. Be specific. Make sure they're measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. This week, I'll walk 10 minutes daily with a walker to build stamina. Or this week, I'll practice what Jim talked about. I'm going to have a script of maybe a child or gym teacher or different kind of people that I'm going to practice my elevator pitch. I had that happen so many times that I have to use my elevator pitch. But if I didn't practice it or set a goal for that, it didn't happen. And so make sure that you set some goals and then at the end, celebrate the progress. It's about gratitude again, right? The other ones, I don't know, have you, BC, do they have ice storm here? Last ice storm? Have you heard of ice storm? Probably not. Not like we do. We had an ice storm and a lot of times that when we walk by parking lot, we hear crash because branches broke that is too heavy for the ice on and in the shadow on the ground. But the things that it didn't break are the bamboos. And actually, bamboos are able to twist it like that. It's being flexible. It's being flexible. Adapts plans. If fatigue hits, pivot to rest without self-judgment. How often do we set it, okay, today we need to accomplish 1, 2, and 3, and if it doesn't work, we just get really upset. Sometimes life doesn't happen that way. Are we able to be flexible? then self-compassion. Make sure you're being kind to yourself. Do you say it to yourself? May I be happy? May I be healthy? Then you think about other people too, but for yourself. May I be able to carry through today with ease. Compassion reduces stress. Treat yourself as you would treat a friend. Hopefully, you treat your friend nice. That's the given part of it, is that if you decided, no, but you are worthy of love. You absolutely are. And it's so important to have that self-compassion. This is not selfishness. This is actually to cultivating a healthy sense of self, so that when you face yourself, when you face other medical professions or other people, that you're able to practice that. And that comes back. One thing I find about Canadians is that if you on the street, I don't know about BC, but I assume that it's so, that if you say hi to people while you're walking or taking a stroll and you have a smile, it reflects back. And that's the same thing. If you are walking around gloomy, and it may reflect back. But it's important that we have that self-compassion. You're worthy of love. You know what? I don't even look at my notes anymore. So these are the interactive moments. In pairs or small group or where you're at, I want you to just take some time to think through those 4 pillars of resilience: positive mindset, goal setting, flexibility, and self-compassion, and see that which one you have used, and take some time to share with one another from your Pompe experience. So can we set a timer? Oh, it's right there. So let's do 3 minutes. Is 3 minutes enough? Yeah? And talk about, have you used any pillars of resilience, and what are some of the examples? And then maybe we can hear some of those, and so that for those who are online, they can also be part of this as well. So let's start. Go. Okay, so let's go around and hear people's resilient moments. Which one did they pick, or what? Why don't you go around and see? Maybe to start off with that table. Are you guys okay with that? No. Thank you for being brave.
Is it on? Okay, that's on. No, I'll do my own. If you can tell yours, I can tell mine. In the morning, I usually wake up and take some deep breaths, splash cold water on my face, do some affirmations, do deep breathing. Yeah, I think in the beginning when I started doing affirmations, it was helpful because then it did cross over into when I was having negative thoughts outside of the time. Then I'd be like, no, I am kind to myself. You know, I don't know what else to say.
Thank you. Thank you. Any? Do you have anything to say? Your table, huh? AJ? Hey, it's good that I remember their name.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of for our Pompe experience, we're focused a lot on the goal setting. Our son is starting to get really into like the outdoors, walking and stuff, so we try and set aside plenty of walks throughout the day, depending on the weather. And yeah, kind of flexibility. He's starting to really get in cuddling, so he likes to be walked around. So make sure that we're always able to accommodate him for that.
Thanks. Thanks for sharing.
So for the flexibility. There's always when you're setting the goals, maybe I might not get through 1, 2, and 3. Maybe it's just 1 and 2, or maybe just 1, and 2 and 3 are always there for tomorrow.
That's good. Thanks.
As well as having and pretty much dealing with any new obstacle with a good sense of humor and make light of as much as you can.
Thank you, Chris.
So I set myself up for successes. So I do some things that I probably wouldn't need to do, but like, for example, when I make a to-do list, I'll put items on it that I've already done. So,
Brush your teeth, comb your hair.
No, not those. but like just little things like that, so that when I do look at that to-do list, later in the morning or something, it looks like I've already like gotten some work done, right? And it's not just depressing. So I think it's okay to be kind to yourself and just cheat a little bit, I think that's okay. The other thing that I do, we were talking about this earlier, is years ago, I don't know if some of you might remember the book The Secret. So I read that book, and that really stuck with me, because it's kind of about visualization and surrounding yourself with the sort of people and the situations that you want in your life and manifesting it happening. And I think it really works. So I think we can do a lot by having positive people in our world. We can make a lot of choices, and we can choose who is worthy of being in our world, right? We choose our partner. Sometimes we can't choose. You can't choose who your teacher is or something like that. But a lot of choices we make, we can actually make for ourselves, and they make a big difference. They change our lives. So that's me lecturing, sorry.
Oh, Vicky.
A really short thing. I was taught by my father, actually, who you saw earlier, the power of the shrug. And it's basically this sort of mindset of, oh, well, didn't get to the laundry today. It'll get done, And the sort of the academic version of that is self-compassion, like what you were talking about. How would you talk to your friend? If your friend told you they were tired, that their body hurts, their back hurts, and then they started sort of punching themselves, being like, "Oh, I didn't get dishes done today." You'd be like, "Shut up!" Like just sit down, and watch TV. Take a Advil, like just relax, shrug. So, yeah.
It's okay to cheat and shrug. Oh, thank you so much for your personal experience and sharing. Those are very good. So let's move on to resilience tools. What are some of the tools? Some people, they download a mindfulness app. That's there's YouTube and about breathing exercise. In terms of problem solving, a lot of the people, what they did is that they break the issues into steps, and even though cheat a little bit and put something that you have done in there. For example, when you're facing a new symptoms, make sure that for step 1 to note it, step 2 to consult your doctor, step 3 adjust routine. And we have talked about humor. Thanks for bringing that up. I find that when I first arrived to Canada, first winter that I had, I was walking to the bus stop with my school bag, and then all of a sudden I hit black eyes and my feet kicked up, my school bag fly, and then I just land there. And then there's 2 reactions. One is that I right away get up and look around and make sure that who's watching. Then I later on find out that the other reaction is I can pretend that I really heard, and then I still look around and see that if there's people watching. But I guess in BC you don't have that, right? But sense of humor is very important. It reduces a lot of stress that you carry around. And at the same time, doing this right, right? So the power of support, why it matters, is scaffolding. All we hear talk about is that every single slide that I go through, I'm scaffolding, I'm building on top of one another. Just like your life, when you get up in the morning, when you visualize, when you do all these self-compassions, mindfulness, sense of humor, you're scaffolding, you're building that support so that in case, you know, something that is out of nowhere, you have the resilience to deal with that. And so in terms of emotions, you can share, you can talk to somebody. I hope that when you leave here, that you will connect with somebody, whether it's with WhatsApp, with text or something. And I have that practice these days that what I did is that I would start going through my day and all of a sudden somebody came to my mind. And I'll text them. I said, you don't have to text back. I just want to let you know that I'm cheering you on. I'm rooting for you today. And you got this. Do you have somebody that when there's something going on that you can talk to? Rather than people that just like, sometimes when you tell your friends stuff and then a lot of times that they will just try to fix you. They try to give you solutions or they will try to you know what, say it's no big deal. But it's important that our emotions have somewhere that is safe. What we are talking about, another thing is that to scaffolding, we're trying to create a space that you can ground, that you feel safe within yourself. And so that as you walk around, that you will bring that safety wherever that is not, if it is not. And so that not only that you don't enter into area that is not safe, but if you have to deal with it, that you will ooze out safety, ooze out compassion, ooze out love. Information. Don't just, I guess, you know, when you get something and I'm not sure about asking, make sure you connect with the organization, connect with Brett, connect with your CAP directors. They're here to support you. They're here to walk alongside you so that nobody is going through that alone. Your doctors, your nurses are here to support you. When you have information, if you're not sure about the process or the trials or anything, ask. Or get somebody to ask if you don't want to ask. But make sure that you get the answer. And practical. If you need help with daily tasks. If you need help to do a chore, to do an errand. Make sure you have help line up for that. So build your support network. Build your support network. And it's so great that, you know, you have the organization here, you have the medical practitioners here, you have also the pharmaceutical companies here. Build your support network. Oh, I went through that. So, any questions? Any comments? I know that I still have 20 minutes, but I just wanted to end here. I know that there's a lot of takeaways. There's the emotional side, there's psychological, there's a social well-being. Make sure that you continue to build on that. But and whenever there's change, I always look at it as kind of like a tree being transplanted. Have you ever seen a tree being transplanted? I look at it when a change happens, like a tree being transplanted. When a tree being transplanted, you got to be compassionate. You got to handle with care. And then the next part of it is that you wanted to build your support network, just like the roots are planted, so that they can get nutrients to have resilience. And whenever there's changes in life, think about the image of a tree being transplanted. Do you have your support network? It's your emotional in check. It's your psychological in check. Do you have social well-being? So any questions online, any comments? Good. You have a question?
I have a question. So when we talk about mental health and mental health services, the dilemma that I have is when or how do we recognize that we need to actually reach out for help? And if we feel that we do, how do we do that? Like I think that sometimes when we see our physicians, they'll see that in us. they'll see that in us, and they will assist us. But we only see them periodically, right? We're not going and seeing them every day. So by getting these snapshots, they may not pick up on our need for help. So we kind of have to self-manage. Can you give us some tips on how we do that?
I think one part of it is that to document it. So, so in terms of physical stuff, like to be able to document, sometimes even a picture or something to document it. But for mental health, it's a little bit challenged because you don't necessarily see it, and until you see it, the red flags are there. Then you may want to seek help and ask. But a lot of times that if you find yourself low in energy, if you find yourself doesn't want to get up, if you find yourself, you can't focus, and as I said, that it's preventative. A lot of times that you don't want it to wait until, but of course, sometimes we can't help, life happens. And then, and when certain things happen, trauma or big things happen, of course, but most of the time it doesn't always happen like that. And so that's why it's good to do preventative stuff, and it's always good to keep a journal. It's always good to just having the self-awareness. We always talked about self-awareness because it's important to be aware, you know what, am I easy to get ticked off? It's my behavior not quite normally, that's how I behave. Then maybe you burn out. Maybe you put so much pressure on yourself that you're exhausted. You may need some time to retrieve, to take a breather, or to drop everything on that day. But the thing is that a lot of these times that some you're able to control, some you need to express to people and saying that, you know what, I really need a break here. I really need to just think through some things because I'm no longer able to talk to myself compassionately. Another thing is that if you drive, you can see if you're speeding. Have you ever thought about that? Like if you do a certain thing and you realize that you're always speeding from one end to another, the chances is that things is going to be out of control. If you're dreaming about falling off certain things, if you're dreaming, there's certain things that in our psyche that is showing us that we try to keep the lid on, but the pressure is keep cooking. And it's good to check it, to have like to say, you know what, do I need to journal? Do I need to write things down? Do I need to slow down? Because those things are indication, self-awareness, speeding or other stuff. You know that, like you're short with people often, because that's not common behavior. If you talk down on yourself, you talk down on other people, and a lot of times that they're subconscious too. But if your friends keep saying to you, or if you just like, you know what, I just can't handle this, then there's certain things that it's kicking in. And a lot of times it doesn't have to be big, but it keeps building. Am I making sense here? Even supper, right? You keep rushing it and go from one place. Usually rushing it's a big indication. Because a lot of times our subconscious is trying to control. We try to manage. But then at the end, it's just a little bit of a trigger. And then it kicked in and blow up. Yeah. You have another question?
I do actually.
I can see that. See self-awareness.
more of an observation. I think that we sometimes, in our world, we're talking about the patient all the time, but we need to talk about the family as well.
Caregiver.
Yeah. Family caregiver. It can be extended family. It can be. We can have a devastating effect on a teacher who goes through an experience with our child that really affects them. So there's a lot of people around the patient that can be affected. And I think that, we're going to have a caregiver panel in the afternoon, so we'll get to talk about some of those things. But we need to keep that in mind because sometimes when we're talking about medical things, we keep talking patient, and we have to realize that it's not just the patient, it's the whole family and even a wider circle than that.
I think a lot of times that the challenge comes in is that caring for our loved ones, it so easily became our identity. So for example, when I care about my son's success or failure becomes my identity. And I have to be very careful. And as caregivers, you know, there's two challenges that I always see is that one, you may need a break. And that's okay. But then the hard part is that you can't find a break. You can't find people to relieve you. And then the other part of it is that if you can find people to relieve you, because your identity is tied to that, you feel that you may fail or you're failing because you're supposed to care about that. So those are the things that is very challenging. So let's break it down. First off, that shouldn't be your identity. Because if you carry that, nobody can carry that. Nobody can carry that. It's okay not to carry that. And the second thing is that when you recognize that you need break, plan these breaks. Ideally, you know, you'll get the help and ask for help and all of that. There's no fault of you that you need a break so that you can be better caring in the future. That's the goal. It's not to, okay, I take a break so that I'm not good enough. No, it's because so that you can recover, you can care much better. But the third part of it that I haven't had an answer is that if you know that you need a break and you can't find a break, what do you do? I would suggest that in addition to keep shaking the system to try to get help, the other thing is that you really need to stay grounded. Because if you're a caregiver, you're already carrying your own life and the loved one that you're carrying or your family that you're carrying, it's easy to get burned out. And so if you, in a short time that you can get help, you really have to pace yourself. Pacing yourself is very important. Instead of like, you know, do a 100-meter, do a marathon, you may need to do like a 50-meter dash and take a break. Get a drink, take some time, and then do another 20-meter dash and then take a break, and then do another 60, take a break. Because the challenge of it is that when you needed the help and when there's no help, nobody doing errands, nobody doing appointments, nobody doing that, it's so overwhelming. But those practices are important. Get somebody that you can help to talk to, journal, doing breathing exercise, pace yourself. Hopefully that helps because the caregiver is a huge part of it. A lot of times we focus on patient, but then caregiver has their own mental needs and challenges. And those are the things that it's in order to be successful or flourish for that whole family, it needs to be working together. Go ahead.
As a caregiver myself,
Yeah.
I just really want to emphasize lean on supports. If it's CAP, if it's like the mom group on Facebook, the dad group on Facebook, even if you just get like that small validation from somebody else who understands, it helps so much. And like, who better to understand what we're going through than the community here? You mentioned the scaffolding, build up your network. These are great people to do it, especially if you don't have that support in like your family or your everyday life.
It's important not to, as you said, talk to people that understand. It's very difficult. A lot of times we want everybody to understand, but it's not going to happen, at least not in a short time. But if you even find one person that just give you a safe space, non-judgmental, well, first of all, you try not to judge yourself, but then you find a safe space that they don't judge you, they just let you be. That's already a gift. That's worthy to cultivate because a world is so fast-paced and people just wanted to, get things done and get things done. But then it's so important to look after our mind so that we can continue to function and even go against the current of this fast pace, this performance world, and all of that. Like I find that it's challenging because everything is by performance, but how often it's I guess by compassion, kindness. If you have more questions, like you can email me or you can connect with Brad, and he can give you my contact or anything. And yeah, because not everybody can think of something right now. But if you have any stuff in the future, by all means, just send me an email or check and say, hey, I have this, like, you know. You guys hungry? Is it lunch? Just about lunch. Yeah. Because you guys work hard this morning. You guys work really hard. I don't know how many of you like me that fly in, but like you sit and you talk, you exercise your brain and all of that. So I really appreciate you being here, and thank you for having me once again. Yeah, I'll pass.
So, lunch next. Lunch is in the room beside us. If you're joining online, lunch might be in the room beside you. I don't know. But you're on your own. We're going to start here again at 1 o'clock. So you've got an hour and a few minutes. And I just want to say one thing about the topic of mental health. A lot of us think actually that doesn't apply to us. We're just fine, right? But things have a habit of catching up on you. And it's really good to be aware that when you're in situations like this that can be insanely stressful, that at some point you may need to look after yourself or your loved ones. These are really important things. It's not just about our physical health. Okay, so it's super important. If you need to reach out to us for anything, just do it. Don't think twice.